We're psychologists. But he does something that's very, very unique that most psychologists don't do. And he actually talks to people over the phone. Is that right? All over the country, all over the world. And this is the man right here. He's traveled worldwide from Hong Kong to Rio de Janeiro, to Slovakia, to London, and he's making his comedy debut right here tonight. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Susskind.
It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here tonight, and especially to support Karen and Yona. I don't know that Karen and Yona know that I have a hidden agenda, in that about 42 years ago, I graduated from the Flatbush Yeshiva High School in Brooklyn, and it's nice to know there's another Ashkenazi graduate from the yeshiva here. And I came to the campus of Columbia University. And on the one hand, I was very, very impressed and in awe. But on the other hand, I wasn't quite sure how a Jewish boy from Brooklyn was going to fit into this environment. And we did not have the fortune of having things like Chabad on campus to help us hold on to the Jewish part of ourselves as we swam in the incredible wisdom that was presented to us at Columbia. And my first class was not terribly encouraging. My first required class, part of Columbia's famous history of Western philosophy, focused very heavily on the role of the Catholic Church and its role in Western philosophy. And I did not know very much about that at all, nor did most of my yeshiva friends. So we decided to get a volunteer. And we told Yankel that we were sending him over to the confessional at St. Paul's Chapel. Du darfst nicht haben Meure. We told him, you don't need to be afraid. You're not doing this alone. We're going to prepare you. We're going to prep you. We took off his yarmulke. We put on a baseball cap. And Yankel shows up. And the priest slides the little window and looks through and says, yes, my son, why are you here? And Yankel is hip, he is cool, he is prep. He says, Father, I have come to confess. My son, can you tell me, are you Jewish? And Yankel starts to panic. He says, yes, Father, I am. How did you know? He says, well, son, you're the first student to ever come to my confessional, accompanied by his attorney. So we figured it wasn't going to be so easy just to pass. We were going to have to learn to walk the walk. And a couple of my friends decided their route was going to be macho wasp sports. Crew in particular. For those of you who have never seen the Lubavitch crew team, let me explain to you that in crew, you have a long, thin rowboat called a shell. And there are 9 men who sit in rowing positions. And at the head is the captain who gives the count. He yells, row, row, row. So the coach looks at this freshman class and says, do we have anyone here who would like to be captain? So Joey Burrell, a fellow graduate of mine from Yeshiva, says, yes, coach, I would like to be the captain. And the coach says, well, do you have any relevant prior experiences? He says, yes, I used to be the Baal Tefillah at my Jewish congregation. Well, Joey gets a call from his mother. His mother says, Joey, this is a very strenuous sport. It demands a great deal of endurance. I'm afraid you're going to get hurt. He says, Mama, there is nothing to worry about. The coach watches each one of us, monitors our physical well-being very carefully. Yesterday, we finished a grueling practice. And one of the guys said, Coach, I'm so thirsty. I must have a beer. And one of the other guys said, Coach, I'm so thirsty. I must have a scotch and soda. And one of the Jewish guys said, Coach, I'm so thirsty. I must have diabetes. Well, the coach was not impressed with the macho quality of the Jewish team members. And he called the guys together and he said, listen, fellas, nothing personal, but I don't think that Jews have the temperament for competitive team sports. In fact, I will tell you, I was looking at the results from the international crew competition last year in Oxford, England. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem, for the first time, put in a team, and they did abysmally. So Joey decides he's going to check this out. He calls the Hebrew University, and in fact, the coach verifies they did terrible. But the coach says not to worry. Not to worry, we have found the solution. We sent a spy from the Mossad to Oxford and Cambridge to see what trick do the Goyim have. What's going on? So the spy came back and said, the difference between us and the Goyim is by them, 9 men row, only 1 man yells. Now, another route that some of us chose, having been exposed to this world that was just open to us, was to become anthropological and multicultural. Phone rings. Hello, Mrs. Cohn. I have a long-distance collect call from you from Running Wolf. Running Wolf? Running Wolf? Reuven, is that you? Mama, I told you not to call me Reuven. I've been on the Sioux reservation for 6 months now, and I need something from you very badly. Chief Standing Bear has decided to adopt me. And we are going to have a naming ceremony. I need 2 things from you. I need you to send my birth certificate, and the chief has asked if you would be willing to attend and participate in this renaming ceremony. Reuven, you tell Chief Standing Bear he can make it a double ceremony. He will name you Running Wolf. He can name me Sitting Shiva. Next day the phone rings. Reuven says, Mama, Mama, Mama? Chief Standing Bear has said that he has great respect for our Jewish traditions and an understanding of our years of Jewish culture. And as an act of conciliation towards you, he has decided I will be given a Jewish name. And he would like you to attend the ceremony. No. So what's the name? Whitefish. Now, in spite of all of these pressures to acculturate and let go of some of our roots, and not having the kind of support around that Yonah and Karen provide, in spite of it, many of us held strongly onto our Jewish roots. And there were 2 things that helped keep us there. One, simply a feeling of warm connectedness to other Jews. And a second was an appreciation of Jewish intellectualism, our Jewish cup. And I'd like to tell you one story that incorporates both those qualities. A Jewish student is traveling on a train in Eastern Europe. Sharing the same compartment with him is an older rabbi who's deeply immersed in the study of Talmud. The student says, excuse me, Rabbi, I don't mean to bother you, but I'm quite concerned. This train goes to Stropgiv in Slovakia. I have to catch the last train there that leaves for Budapest. The train's going very slowly. It's late. I'm worried. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Stropkiv on time. Rabbi, could you tell me the time? The rabbi says, no. He says, Rabbi, I'm not asking for much. I know you're deep in your study. All I want to know is, can I see your watch? Can you tell me the time? The rabbi says, no. He says, well, Rabbi, at least you could tell me why you won't tell me the time? The rabbi puts down the book. He says, young man, you think I don't know how these things start? It starts with, could you tell me the time? Oh, thank you. Oh, hello. My name is. I'm from here, there. Where are you from? Oh, you're from there. Do you know him? I know her. And before we're done, we find out we're relatives. You're our fourth cousin. You're a fifth cousin. Now listen, young man. I know there's no way this train is getting into Stropkiv in time for you to catch the train to Budapest. So what's going to happen? We pull into the station. You're a student. I can see you're a student. You don't have the money to go to a hotel. I am going to leave a relative of mine to spend a cold night in the train station in Stropkiv? No way. So I've got to take you home, right? So I take you home. We come into the house. My sweet daughter, Razel, sees me come into the house. She gives a shmeichel, a smile like you wouldn't believe. And you take a look at my beautiful daughter. What are you laughing? You don't think my daughter's beautiful? So she looks at you, and you look at her, and young man, we do not have a lot of eligible young men who come through our village. So you talk a little here, and she talks a little there, and before I know it, you're coming over, and you say, Cousin Chaim, you know that anyway in our family, it's a tradition that cousins marry. I would like to ask you for your daughter's hand in marriage. Young man, do you think I want a son-in-law who can't even afford a watch? And of the many things that Chabad on campus and that Yonah and Keren do on campus is to help Jewish students stay connected with the warmth of being a Jew and to understand the profound intellectual depth of Jewish thought as on campus they are exposed to profound elements of secular thought. Now we are promised that a day is coming when we will not need Chabad on campus. And I am not talking about a promise from Eshat Torah or Or Sameach or Hillel. Our response to 9/11 is 11:9 of Yeshayahu, where the prophet Yeshayahu says, Ki mola ha'oretz de'ah es Hashem, that a time is coming when all of us will have a clear connection and a clear sense of God and of our being Jewish. And may that day come, techef umiyad mamash. Amen. Dr. Susskind, ladies and gentlemen.